Hi, everybody. It's time for the unit on the presidency, which is Unit 3 for the course. This unit contains two required viewings. One is the movie Lincoln, which is in part based on the book A Team of Rivals by Doris Kearns Goodwin. Um, it goes beyond what she wrote, but it sticks pretty much to the story of Lincoln's administration in the last few months leading up to his assassination, and includes the passage of the 13th Amendment, the one prohibiting slavery. And that's really the prime focus of the story. But you get a lot of sense of what the presidency was like in 1865 and where it could possibly go from there. The other movie is something much more fictional and action packed. It's Air Force One, starring Harrison Ford. Um, this, along with another little clip that I've given you, I've included in the module on Canvas a link to two things. One, a Wikipedia article, and a clip of a children's cartoon from the 1960s that I grew up watching, or at least for a year or two I grew up watching, called Super President. It's kind of corny. It also, with our lens of 2020 looking back at the mid 1960s, it might appear somewhat racist or sexist or woefully out of date. Obviously, it's more than 50 years old. But nonetheless, it fits in with a theme, I think, with these other two movies, and even with some of the movies that are listed here for your optional viewing, which I'll get to in a second. Um, there's a theme here about the hero presidency or the hero president. Why is it that we do that when we create movies or fiction about presidents? We are often putting them in the role of the hero. I mean, even think of a couple of the episodes of The West Wing that we watched, or if you do get hooked on it and try and stream it, you'll see how the president himself, or at least his administration, is cast in the light of being a bit heroic. Um, what is it that does for us? Why do we do it? And do these portrayals of presidents, either real in history or ones that we make up entirely, the fictional presidencies, do they make it more difficult for real live presidents to be president? That's something to think about as you're watching the movies, maybe engaging on the discussion boards. I'll put a question similar to that up on the discussion board uh, probably by Wednesday or Thursday of this week. That would be the 22nd or the 23rd of April. Um, but you can also obviously talk about that in your journals as well. The optional movies that are listed here are The American President, which, if you watch that one, you'll see a great deal of similarity to The West Wing. That's because it was made by Aaron Sorkin, the same guy who did The West Wing. Um, a lot of similar camera techniques. The characters are quite similar to the characters you might find in The West Wing. Dave, which is a story about a sort of an accidental president, a guy who looks like the president and is asked to stand in. It's also sort of a bit of tongue-in-cheek conspiracy theory, but nonetheless a good, um, uplifting movie about a guy caught in a bad situation and doing the right thing, and still heroic. My Fellow Americans, where two former presidents come together to save the day, and 7 Days in May. You can watch either the original one from the 1960s, which is in black and white, or a remake that was done for HBO in the 1990s, I believe it was. Maybe it's the early 2000s, where there's an attempted military coup of the country, and how a president and an ally in the Pentagon um, work together to put the coup down, bloodlessly, I might add. So you've got a number of interesting options to choose from for your optional viewing. But remember, Lincoln and Air Force One are the two required viewings. But I suggest, just sort of to get this idea of the heroic presidency and taking it to the extreme. I've given you one cartoon episode of the Super President and a Wikipedia page talking about that cartoon series. So if you're into politically incorrect and out of date cartoon imagery that might tell you something about this theme of the heroic presidency, take a look. Um, Obviously, you could use it for your journal. And if you wanted to do a paper on, for your term paper, on the heroic presidency, that's not necessarily a bad idea. Anyway, enjoy. Again, I'm recording this on April 21st. I'll be online this Thursday and Friday in the chat room if you have any questions, and we'll be back together live on Monday. Hopefully, in the next several days over the weekend, I'll get a few more of these intros recorded for you if you wanted to get a little bit more ahead. So enjoy. See you soon.